Good morning, everyone. Okay, practicing self-care. So the first thing I want to do now, we only have 45 minutes now, but I just believe that training should be interactive. What you put in is what you get out. I know I'm the one being paid, but I think it's just such a better experience if we do life together. And so I will ask some of you to come off mute or go into the chat with some of your responses. That's just what we do. So our learning objectives today is to identify the 7 types of self-care and develop strategies to promote balance in all areas of life. We're not going to go backwards. Okay, so I'm going to have to run through some of these a little bit. Okay, so what is self-care? So what I'd like to know is just from your perspective, and you could just pop it in the chat. When you think of self-care, if you had to define it, what would you say it is? Come on, y'all. Doing things for you, doing things, caring for yourself, taking care of yourself, self-reflection, taking care of me. Yes, time for yourself to reboot and recharge. I like that. Taking time for yourself, me time. Absolutely. Putting yourself first. Refreshing. Self-reflection. I love it. Taking care of yourself. I love it. I love it. I love it. And you are all absolutely right. I was doing this presentation about a month ago, and someone said, it's the daily hug I give myself. And I was like, wow. The daily hug I give myself. Okay, so when we begin to define, why is it not moving? Why are my slides not moving? Okay, so self-care is really everything you do deliberately for your mental, physical, and emotional well-being. And the key word for me in that is deliberately. Everything you do deliberately. I'm going to say that again, deliberately. Okay, so why is self-care important? So according to the American Heart Association, a study in 2017, they found that a solid self-care practice can help manage chronic illness, improve interpersonal relationships, and play a role in the prevention of future diseases. So it really has physical, we know that it can promote self-esteem or enhance your self-concept, but it's really just knowing that when we don't have that self-care, did I do that? Did I say self-care? When we don't have self-care, we really start to do damage to our bodies. Our physical existence is compromised when we don't practice self-care. And I don't think sometimes we think of it that way. Okay, so before we get into this, who can give me an example? I'd like 3. Ooh, and dare I say it, come off mute. Whoop, whoop. 3 people who are willing, you can raise your hand and I can see it. Who can tell me how they practice self-care this morning? This morning.
I crocheted.
You crocheted, yes, yes. Someone said they brushed teeth. Do you hear me? Do you hear me? I see Brittany's hand, yes, and then Carolyn.
I start off with prayer.
Awesome, awesome.
I went for a walk.
Nice, nice.
Stretching.
I got my sauna, wow. Daily affirmations, someone else. Let's do life together. Someone else prayed, read scripture, ate breakfast, yoga. Absolutely. All of this is self-care. It's how you get through whatever it is that you do for you. And one of the tips that I give for some people who really struggle with self-care, Brittany, did we get to you or are you raising your hand?
We got to me.
Okay. If you could put your hand down. One of the things that, and thank you for sharing. One of the things that there was a woman in one of my sessions, she was just really struggling. She was like, I'm just not there. I'm not there. And I said, can you just commit? How much time do you spend in the shower? And she was like, I don't know. I said, can you do me a favor? Can you just kind of time your showers? And then, I connected with her outside of the training because I just kind of wanted to coach her through that. And I said, then I want you to spend an extra 2 minutes in the shower. After you've done everything you needed to do in there, just 2 extra minutes in the shower. And so that's her self-care, something that small. Sometimes it's not going to be, you're not going to have a lot of time because life comes at you, right? We have times where we can practice it more often than not. I'm seeing in here that we need a deaf interpreter. I'm going to continue, but I hope we can meet that need. So sometimes you have to find the small things. So the first thing I want us to do is before we get into this, I'll give you the training, if you will. I really just want to love on my people and make you feel healthy and whole. But I want us to commit. I want us to commit even on this, however many minutes we have left to just being present in this moment, that any good thing that comes out of me or that you see on this page, you will allow that to be deposited into you and allow this to be your self-care today. That you will absorb I say wisdom is currency. I believe that. I believe that we are accountable for good word. And it lives and it grows and it builds and expands. And so anything good, I'm not saying that I'm good, but anything good that you hear, pop it in the chat because I always want to know that I'm on your street or that I'm reaching you. So let me know. But I want you to just take this moment and allow yourself to be cared for, even in a training. And I want you to commit to at least being open to finding ways to put you first as best you can when you can. Oh, someone in the chat said, I didn't think of extra shower time being self-care. Listen, we're going to get through this thing called life. We're going to get through the best way we can. Pardon my vernacular. I know that I should be saying we are going to get through it, but sometimes I like to just, talk to my people. But we're going to get through this the best way you can. Place your contact information in the chat when I'm done. Yeah. We're going to have to get through this the best way that we can. And some of that is going to be 2 extra minutes in the shower. On your Keurig, instead of putting 8 ounces of coffee, maybe you put 10, whatever that little thing is that you do to give yourself a daily hug. All right. 7 types of self-care. There's emotional, physical, mental self-care, social, spiritual, practical, and professional. And this content, a lot of this can be found on healthcoachinstitute.com. There's also some resources at the end, and I'll make sure you have a copy of this as well. So what I want you to do is just kind of think about where you fall in here. And I need someone to mute. I think, Sue, I think you're unmuted. Okay, I think the host muted me or I muted myself. Okay, so the first one, emotional self-care. So what this really is the actions we take to connect with our emotions and process them in a healthy way. So on the left box, I'll give you kind of some symptoms that this may be. We might be on your street, in your lane. I like to call it, when I hear good word and I need to put it into practice, I'll say shots fired, like, oh, shots fired. That was directed at me. This is something I am accountable for. I have to see myself in this and make the change. So when we look over here and we see symptoms, difficulty controlling emotions, easily affected by others' negative moods. We've all been there, right? You have those times where it's like, normally that person at work that's always a pessimist, that never has anything positive to say, it rolls off. And then you'll find yourself in a period where you're like, I don't want to go to work. I don't want to see their face. I don't want to deal with them. Well, they haven't changed. They've always been that way. So sometimes you have to step back and look at you and say, what is lacking in my life that I can't, all of a sudden, this has become so much for me. And so sometimes you also struggle to cope with feelings of shame, guilt, embarrassment, jealousy, anger, and or feelings of unworthiness. If you are having any of this, it's time to go a little deeper in your emotional self-care practices. And some of the strategies for that is journaling. Let me tell you my philosophy on journaling. I think sometimes what happens is that we try to make it, we use a lot of legalism with things. Like I'm tied to this. I have to do this every day. And when you miss a day or a week or a month, then you have guilt, and then it's, oh, I can't get back to my journal. Oh, I'll get back to it one day. Let me say this: guilt is a useless emotion that breeds stagnation. We were not built in a healthy lifestyle to have guilt. Conviction, yes, not guilt. Guilt is rooted in darkness. Conviction is rooted in healthy self-reflection that brings about change. So be careful with that. Anytime you're feeling that guilt, it's actually a dark emotion, and it really has no place in our lives. And so for somebody who hasn't journaled in forever, pick your journal back up if you want to tomorrow. You don't owe your journal an explanation. 1, 2, the whole concept of it has to be a book, Dear Diary. No, it could be, I go into the notes section of my phone and I'll just write down my thoughts. I've said sometimes, girl, my Facebook is my journal, which, I'm sure that all of my followers hate, but I have to get it out. And so you find your way of expressing how you feel and things that speak to you, however you need to do it, as often or as little as you need to do it. You don't owe anyone an explanation, and you don't have to have rules about it. But there is something cathartic about being able to write out or type out how you're feeling, or whatever it is that you want to reflect or put out into the world, or at least jot down. Another thing, talk to someone, life coach, therapist, spiritual mentor, or other counselor. If you're feeling this and it feels like it has you, I love now that there are even apps where you can search therapist on an app and find someone who may be in Cincinnati. They don't live in your city. You don't have to worry about they might know me or any of that other stuff that sometimes prevents us from getting the healing that we need. Utilize affirmations or mantras. You could, again, there's so much out there. You can get daily quotes sent to you. You can subscribe to certain motivational speakers or follow them on your social media, where you're getting that positivity just reinforced every day. Meditation, for some people that's praying. For some people it's just really clearing your mind, taking a moment to clear your mind. And then another one that I like to do is practice. I think that's so important. And it really centers us. It brings us back. And it's that daily, I know people who, when, as soon as they awake, they have some type of gratitude statement. They don't open their windows and yell it out outside. It's just something that they may say to themselves, a thought that they may have, or something they write down. So what I'd like to do is just take a moment. I have 29 minutes. I'm going to zoom. And just write down a gratitude statement. What are you grateful for? Put them in the chat if you don't mind. What are you grateful for? I'm grateful for all of you that you stayed. That just means so much to me. You stayed. Grateful for family, my health, yes. To be alive and healthy, a warm home, huh? Mm-hmm. Mug collection, life, health, and strength, family, friends. I'm great. My cat, family. Mm-hmm. You know how they say darkness, well, not they say, we know darkness and light can't occupy the same space. Sometimes it's that gratitude statement forces in light. It forces in light. And it's so important to our daily. I don't care if you're a pessimist. I don't care. We all go through stages. We've all, if you haven't been one yet, you will. You're going to go through it's the way life happens. But if you can get to gratitude, it takes the emphasis off of you or whatever your challenge is, and it focuses on what you do have. And it's sustaining, and it will fuel you. A wonderful support system I have with my coworkers. I love that. I love that. Okay, I got to press. Got to make up that time. Okay. So the next self-care is physical self-care. And that's just basic. Any activities you deliberately engage in to enhance your physical well-being. And so that could be some symptoms could be, or people who might need this more are people who lack physical activity, or people whose job requires sitting. I need someone to. Thank you. Lack of physical activity, or the job requires sitting a little, there are just some positions where you have little to no movement throughout the day. So you might be someone who needs that extra something after work, or maybe on your break, and some strategies for that. The other thing on physical care that's not up here is also what we ingest, right? It's what we eat could be a part of how you physically take care of yourself. And so that's exercise, whatever that looks like for you. Everyone's not going to run. Everyone's not going to be at Orange Theory, but that doesn't mean that a walk is any less valued, or if you have physical limitations, it's finding how do you move in a way that you still feel like you are practicing physical self-care. A lot of breathing and stretching. Dancing to your favorite song, getting a massage, taking a nap. So what I'd like for you to do just really quickly, I just want you to take a moment. We're going to do this for about 30 seconds. And I want you to just either breathe or stretch, whichever one you're feeling. You might see me do both. I'm going to set the timer, because this is our time, right? Go. Just stretch or breathe. Just a little stretch. Whew. Okay, we just did 30 seconds. I would have done a minute, but my time is lacking. I'm that person that gets to the gym and it's like I'm still running track. I just want to get there, get in the blocks. Let me just get this out. Let me just do what I got to do. And my husband's always like, you're not going to stretch. No, I got time. I have an hour. So I got to get home. I got to cook. I just need to get there, do what I got to do, and get back. And then my body later is like, you might have wanted to stretch. How about you stretch next time? And so the older I get, I just really am starting to see the value of stretching. And it's really, it's honoring your body. And just the more I have the benefit of life, the more I appreciate my body. And I communicate with my body. And I'm really in this phase of honoring my body. If I want to go hard at the gym and my body is like, I honor my body. It's not about my head. I work, I get it in. But sometimes my body is like, not today. And so I honor it. And I had a trainer who taught me that. She was like, always honor your body, honor your body. You're going to get it in. I don't worry about you. You're committed. Honor your body. Can someone please post the 7 types of self-care? I can go back to it really fast. Because I can't talk and do that, but it's emotional, physical, mental, social, spiritual, practical, professional. Okay, so I'm going to move on because I don't have you long. Mental self-care, anything you do specifically to stimulate your mind and cultivate a healthy psyche. So some symptoms that you might need to focus a little more here: hard time getting out of bed in the morning, difficulty focusing, your brain feels exhausted at the end of the day. You're starting to hear a lot of negative self-talk or negative thoughts. And some strategies for that could be listening to a podcast. Do you know there are podcasts dedicated to self-care and just calming your spirit, your mind? There's a calming app. Do a mindfulness activity. Listen to music that's soothing. Write a gratitude statement. And many of us need this unplug. There has to be a time of day where you say, I'm done with social media. I'm done with my phone, and I unplug. And commit to that. And you don't have to start big. When I get home from work, I'm shutting out the world. Okay, that might work for you. But for someone else, I always say, take the baby steps first. So maybe for you, it's by 7 p.m., I will do this. By 9 p.m., I will do this. And extend grace. Okay, I didn't make it at 7, but I made it by 8. Extend grace. The challenge with healthy habits is that that ugly guilt creeps in, which again stagnates growth. And then it doesn't allow us to accomplish our goal. Does that make sense? I hope this is making sense to everyone. I want to do a mindfulness activity really quickly. I'm gonna set my timer for 30 seconds. And I just want you to be super still. Super still. And I just want you to focus. I'm starting the timer now. Think about what you hear. Besides my voice, what do you hear the most when you're completely still? Now, this next 30 seconds, I want you to focus on your body. Where did your mind instantly go? Okay, that was 1 minute. But it would be a disservice to not give you some time to just be. I don't care if we stop right here. I gotta love on you a little bit. You need that time to just be. Now, if you could just go in the chat and tell me what you heard. For me, I heard the heater going, like my registers, we called it growing up. I could hear my furnace, I guess. I could hear that heat coming through. The news in the background, yes. My fan, yes. The dryer, cars passing. my phone, 1,000 things, my dog snoring, the dog eating, my clock ticking, my children, my heart, my plane, my inner voice, car horn, dogs breathing, little feet stomping off snow. I hear my grandkids. Oof, lucky you. Birds. Yeah. See, those things that we wife on the phone. Yes. Those things that we tune out. My puppy Eddie. That can sometimes fuel us. I know I'm not the only one sometimes who pulls in. I like to pull into my garage and just sit for a minute. Not because I'm stressed or don't want to get in the house and don't want to see my family. I just like that minute. That's my self-care. And sometimes, if I'm honest, I've been in my car for 40 minutes because I needed it. And every time I get home, I do that as well. Just sit in the car and be still. Yep. It's important. Your family will understand. It can wait. And if it can't, then yours might be that 2 minutes in the shower. We're gonna get through this the best way we can. We make it super deep. It's not. Find something for you. Now, what about the body? What did you notice with your body when you were still and you had a moment to pay attention to it, to honor it? What did you hear? Relaxed. I heard peace, less tension. Yes. We have to honor our bodies. We have to listen to them. Relief. In tune, calmness. Yep. That feeling that you had today, peaceful. I want you to be a peace addict. What do you struggle with? Girl, peace. I'm addicted. Gotta have it. I want you to feel like you can't function without it. So much so that you're willing to fight for it. Yeah. Y'all just let that sit for a second. We'll get through it. We'll get through all of them. I can talk fast, but this is your time for you. We have to do more of this. My family knows I do these things, yoga, you can YouTube it because I may not be the best teacher at it, but cleansing breaths. And if a girlfriend of mine taught me to do it. And sometimes we'd be in the car driving and I thought she had an attitude. She was doing these cleansing breaths and now I do them. And sometimes it's not even about anything going on around me. It's just how I release. And so I'll do one for you. And they're kind of loud. Maybe you'll hear it over Zoom, maybe you won't. But I take a deep breath in and then I let it out. I don't know if you could hear that. But if you're sitting beside me, it almost sounds like, what's wrong with her? And if you know me, you know it has nothing to do with you. It's my cleansing breaths. And it really does. I feel like it's just like releasing toxins. My body also said, time to drink what? You better honor your body. Honor your body. I know they say black don't crack, but I also drink a lot of water. So that's why I'm 52 and don't look it. Okay, today anyway. All right. Social self-care. Activities that nurture our relationships with others. Okay, introverts. I'm coming on your lane. So if you, wait, let me go back. So if you are someone who struggles with, I'm going to get it, guys. I'm sorry. I do this thing now whenever I'm in a training that's in person, and I just have a moment where I honor the introverts in the room, because the world doesn't. The world is not meant for the world um, rewards the extrovert, not the introvert. And so the level of anxiety that most have had to learn to live with for their entire lives, the more research I've done, the more I feel accountable for that in a safe space. And so I always have a moment where I just honor them. If I'm doing partnering things, if we were in person, oh, I'd have you, we'd do all kinds of great stuff. But I always honor my introvert. And I'll even allow an introvert to have someone else do an activity on their behalf until they feel comfortable. And most of the time, just honoring them gives them the peace they need to actually do whatever the activity is. So they spent their lives adapting to our world, and then but we don't adapt to theirs. But as it relates to this, sometimes you'll see if you're someone who's starting to cancel plans, withdrawing from others, you can't seem to find time. Ooh, let me get back. Ooh, girl, my calendar. Let me get back to you. I want to be invited, but I don't want to go. Listen, Chronicles of the Introvert, I so get it. But here's the thing. When you do go, you actually have a good time. For the introvert, it's that stage of, do I go, and getting there. And so just learning how to, whatever those steps are that help you to get there. Maybe it's, you're going to need an accountability person. You're going to need somebody that either you have to be the transportation. You have to do something that forces you to not be able to cancel, or you're going to cancel every time. And introverts are extremely drained at the end of the day, because they had to do what they really don't enjoy doing, which is talk and interact. It is exhausting. But the danger is, you have to find that balance. All of us, extroverts, introverts, wherever you are in that, you have to still be able to practice a healthy balance of social self-care. And so some ways that you can do that, this is simple. Schedule a regular phone touch base session with someone. I'm not gonna lie, there are things that I have to go in on my calendar and do. Or I realized that I wasn't talking to my mom enough. So there are things that are standing on my calendar, and I know when I go here, that's when I call my mom. So she knows every Monday she's going to get a call at this time, because that's when I'm driving to such and such. Just finding that way to kind of meet her need. But I also like meeting my need, because I know I only have the amount of time that I'm in the car. So it's perfect, because I don't have to be on there really, really long. Not that I don't love my mom. I love my mom. Host a game night or a paint and sip or something with friends. And I like the virtual paint and sip, because you're still interactive, but you're still at home. Date your mate and write a note to someone. So what I'd like for you to do is one of these activities. I need you to commit to doing one of these activities in the next week. In fact, I will allow you to quickly take out your phone and just send somebody a text really fast. Let's all do it. I'm going to send it to everybody. Just take out your phone and send someone. Not, oh, girl, I'm getting ready to call you. No, just someone that you've been thinking about, that you've been saying, you know what, I'm going to reach out to her. Just a quick, hey, thinking of you. We'll talk soon. Okay. We're going to take like 10 seconds to do that. Okay, I'm done. See, you gotta learn those quick phrases. And what I love about Google, you can Google anything. You can Google how to say hi really quickly in a text, but let them know that I really don't have time to talk. Like you can just really find anything that you need. But it's really just the small steps that you take. Oh, I love that you're doing it in the chat. Hello, Mrs. Turner, sending you hugs. I love that. You are my people. I love that. I love that. Okay. So the next one, social Spiritual self-care, anything you do to connect with and nurture your soul. And if you're starting to feel less grounded, you're dealing with, especially if you're dealing with grief and loss, experiencing medical or financial uncertainty, you're feeling stressed, this needs to be a goal for you. It could be prayer, meditation, attend a worship service, watch motivational videos, get into some daily affirmations and quotes, or give. Sometimes if I do something for someone else, I feel more spiritually grounded because I feel like I was put on this earth to serve others. And so it just kind of reinforces purpose for me. And I just, it's giving is really addictive, honestly, in a healthy way. I am better at this. I am at the physical, though. I am inclined to believe they are tightly woven together. Come on now. Come on now. Teach. They are tied together. They are, which is why I talked about that honoring your body, because it's really, it's seeing your body from a spiritual lens. And there could be others in here for spirit, but you have to find a way to get your spirit fed. I don't care if it's watching a Disney cartoon. I don't care, because there's so many lessons in those, but you find a way to feed your spirit. It could be the music that you listen to, whatever it is that you need to do. That's a priority. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know if you can see the things that are all of a sudden on my screen. I don't know how they got there, and I don't know how to move them. So I apologize. Practical self-care. Practical. I think this is our last one. Any actions you take to fulfill your core needs and reduce stress. Any actions you take to fulfill your core needs and reduce stress. So sometimes you symptoms in this area, clutter. If you're going back to school for anything, or you're taking classes, parent or caregiver. The caregiver syndrome is, I'm so glad that we're really starting to honor that space for caregivers and recognizing the stress that comes with that. If you're noticing that you just have this inability all of a sudden to get organized, stepping on my toes now, yep. That's when you know you need to practice practical self-care. So that's when we go old school, right? We go back to our to-do list and we categorize it. So to-do list at the top. So we've got home, work, whatever it may be. You might have to go room by room and give yourself an extend grace, right? There's some apps for organization. Schedule for cleaning when it comes to your office and your living space. Just schedule it. Like I said, like I know every Monday when I have this standing, that's when I'm going to call my mom. Know that every blah at blah, you're going to tidy up. It just, you build it into your, and people know, hey, what are you doing? Somebody comes by your room in a building and they're like, oh, it's Wednesday. Oh, yep, it's Wednesday. I know what you're doing. And schedule help. That's important, especially caregivers, parents, especially new parents, those that are overwhelmed. Schedule help. Don't be afraid to ask. Schedule the help that you need so that you can just have a moment to yourself. And honor your breaks. Your breaks are just that. They're your time. I know sometimes you have to see students, you have to do things, you have to help out, but you also have to protect your schedule as best you can. You want to be a team player and protect you. Challenge the self-sufficiency mindset. That's good. Oh, I wish I could get into that. Professional self-care. The activities, and this is the last one, the activities and actions that support feeling balanced and fulfilled in your career. What's my time? What's my time? Oh, I only have 4 minutes. Okay. You have a hard time saying no. You overcommit. You struggle to leave the stress of work at work. Again, your strategy is protect your time. Connect with coworkers and seek help when needed. You need an accountability partner. If you struggle in this area, you're going to need someone who's going to protect you from you. Everyone should have it. Most of us We have that in our personal lives with our significant others, but you have to have, or some it's your children or whatever the case, you need someone to protect you from you, someone who holds you accountable. And you have to speak that this is what I would like to do. I want to work on this skill. I want to work on boundaries. And there's someone who's going to hold you accountable and say, remember you said, because otherwise it's just not going to happen. You need help with that. Take a class or find a mentor to help you accomplish professional aspirations. Once a year, you need to look at, am I in line with my professional aspirations? Dare I say it, once a year, you need to dream. At least once a year. Where do I want to be? Is this where am I here? What else do I want to do? And utilize your mental health and your sick days. They are there for a reason. Where do we go from here? I tried to give as many strategies as I could in here. I'm happy to do a part 2. There's a whole series. There's a book that I really would love for you to read in advance, and then we can dissect it. And it talks about the 4 quadrants of life and balance, and it's written by 3 educators. So we don't have time to do the yes and no exercise, but you can do that on your own, just a piece of paper where you're going to write down, just down the middle, things you're going to say yes to, things you're going to say no to, and you've got to put it up somewhere where you can see it and other people can see it too, if you feel comfortable. And then you're going to accomplish as much of that as possible. Here are the resources. I'll make sure you get this PD. There are so many resources in here, so many YouTube links, self-care resources, maintaining human connection, list of self-care resources from Yale University. I tried to put as much in there as possible. Your takeaways: identify at least 3 areas of self-care to improve, grow from those 7 that I gave you. Commit to 1 small act of saying yes to you daily. And the goal isn't to be selfish, but self-full. So how do you fill your cup every day? How do you give yourself that daily hug? And if we didn't get, we would have put some things into practice that I'm just so sorry we couldn't get to. You're going to set at least 1 self-care goal for the remainder of the school year and tell someone. I will come back. If you want a part 2, you let the department know you want a part 2, and we can really get into this. Thank you so much. I value you. I appreciate you. You matter. And it has been my pleasure to serve you. Take care of you.